There's the YouTube to make the fan go away. Hey, Facebook Live. Yeah, episode 40, Truth, Love, and Peace. I screwed up the episode number last time, so if you're looking for episode 39, it's actually Space Jam Drivers. Anyway, Lefty Collins in the car. It's going to be up at the top. Did you find it?
That's what she said.
Awesome.
Just it is
the
there.
Tip, baby.
Episode number 41, actually, isn't this?
No, 40.
Well, you told me to call you out. So
Yeah. It's a good try, though.
I'm an effort guy, Compton.
It's okay. I'm still learning to tell jokes, too. So, by way of housekeeping, truthloveandpeace.com. If you want to check out the podcasts, you can download them there. That'll get you to SoundCloud. It'll also get you the YouTube references. Someone asked. All of the podcasts are on YouTube. Sometimes Facebook screws up videos and stuff like that. So if it drops, or another way to think of it is we put a lot of stuff on YouTube that's not on Facebook. Like in the last episode, one of the musicians had some big announcements, didn't make it on Facebook. So if you want to see that, you got to go find it on YouTube. But it's easy to find, Compton Smith, all that good stuff, blah, 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 blah. So thanks for sharing that on Facebook. So good to see you.
This has been a long time coming. For the record, I canceled on Compton like 14 times.
Yeah, but I'm worth it. I'm worth canceling on. It's okay.
No.
Because you do real shit like win jazz festivals. If there's a winning a jazz festival.
Blues jazz festivals.
Blues festivals. I said jazz. It's not jazz, it's blues. I
Yeah.
apologize. That's a big difference. See?
The jazz guys will get upset at that.
Yeah.
I'll have 4 jazzers ready to throw something at me outside my door here.
See, I told you, it's better when I get called out. It's funnier that way.
No, it's all good. It's all
So
good.
blues.
Blues.
For people who don't know that you are a badass musician, you've been playing some blues for a long time and have a lot of credit in that regard.
A while.
What was the last big blues fest you were at?
Well, we did the really cool thing was the International Blues Challenge. When I moved down here, I wasn't aware of what it was. And I moved down to Gadsden, Alabama. Mm-hmm. Started doing some stuff in Birmingham and got asked to be a judge. And I'm like, I'm not fit to judge anybody. That's really... And so I asked what it was, and I was really new to the area, and I thought, well, could I enter a band in it? Because I thought it might be a nice way to get our name out there, and kind of, we didn't go down there expecting anything, and it was held in Birmingham, and so we played, and there were a lot of bands playing that day, and I met some really cool people, and we were getting ready to say goodbye, and they said, oh, you won, you're going to Memphis to represent the Magic City Blues Society. And I went,
by the way,
our bass player had left. Just me and the drummer left, and I'm like, okay. And so we went. It was a really cool deal. So there's competitions and blues societies all over the world, actually. And so you go there, and you get 2 shows, a Wednesday and a Thursday, like a 20-minute set, and you're judged. And it's there's a score sheet, and but it's still people's opinions of what, and it touches on some really cool things, like what people think the blues is, and some people think it should be traditional, and some people think it should be this way, like anything else. And so the score sheets are, up to the people that are interpreting them, and the judges are volunteers. So anyway, we go, and we were a trio, and I was the singer. I just Forrest Gumped you. I was the singer, and and so you
call me Jenny.
Right. You'd be Lieutenant Dan, I think, at this point.
Good.
And so we get there. On the way into Memphis, I felt this little tickle in my throat, and I woke up like the next morning, and I had bronchitis.
Because that's what you need.
Well, I mean,
that's how you win.
Those were back in the. I mean, that was scream 2 verses, turn guitar up, solo. That's kind of was my deal. And I was okay with that. Anyway, so I overdosed on green tea. I tried everything. My doctor phoned in stuff, and I get to this little place we're playing, and so you play one venue the first 2 nights, 20-minute sets, different judges, and the bartender takes pity on me. I tell her what's going on. She's like, "Come see me 5 minutes before you play." And I'm going to give you a shot of Jack Daniels. I'm like, no, I don't need to be drinking before doing something. She's like, you're not going to get drunk in 20 minutes. Because they do it at her bar every year. She was laughing at me, and so I did it. And it actually helped a little bit. Cleared the throat a little bit, but it was still scratchy. It was Tom Waits' tribute band. and unintentional Tom Waits, which is the best kind of Tom Waits.
Yeah,
and we play the next night, same thing. And so we had packed up and looked online. And I was relieved. I'm like, well, this was fun. Glad we did it. Sorry I got sick, guys. Go online the next morning. You've advanced to the next round. I'm like, no. It was like, come on, man. So anyway, we made the semifinals, which was cool. And rearranged the band and went back the next year and made the finals.
Wow.
Which means you play Saturday at the Orpheum Theater in Memphis.
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool was that?
We closed the show to stand on that stage where so many people have played, and and that, to me, that's what it's all about. It's there's not going to be a tour bus, and I won't be autographing my vinyl LPs. I'm totally good with that. Music has been fantastic. It's been great. I've got to meet a lot of my heroes and jam with some of them, but what's more important to me is all the people I met.
Yeah.
That, I mean, if not for connections in music, I wouldn't know you.
Right.
I wouldn't be on the Gulf Coast. I never would have gone to Gadsden. A lot of things just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the reward, as I get to start to glance in the rearview mirror, not stare at it a little bit. You can start to see where sometimes you thought maybe you weren't getting anywhere, but you really were. And so that's the beautiful part about it. It's just I've met so many cool people and amazing people. It changed my life. And
that's great.
I'll never be able to repay back what I've taken from the river of music, but I'll die trying. That's for darn sure. It's about if you can make people forget their garbage for a song, or a half an hour, or an hour, then you know what? You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, man. I think anyway.
Hell yeah.
What is that line in Almost Famous? Oh, and the chicks are great. Sorry, no, I have a great woman. And she came. I met her through music, so it's all good.
Okay, at the proverbial crossroads here, where should we go?
I would go. We're in amazing Baldwin County, by the way. I would go left, but watch your speed.
Oh yeah.
Because when they say 35 in Silver Hill, they mean it.
Awesome. Well, I drive like a little old lady.
Well, we've got equipment. But yeah, it's been fun. Moving down here has been. I always had a band till I came down here, and there's just so many great musicians, and I've done a little solo acoustic stuff. I just kind of fell into that thing down here, and it's been fun. It really has been. It's forcing me to change what I think about music and approach it differently. And there's so many wonderful singers and songwriters and storytellers down here that it's not hard to find inspiration in this place.
That's very true.
You know them all too, true. So I mean,
well, we're fortunate to be around a hub, which is good. I think it's good for art. We were talking earlier about people getting paid for art or art being labor.
Go straight, man. This is a beautiful little rural road here.
Yeah,
not too far from the fabulous Frog Pond.
Really? Where's the frog? I've never been there. I need to be there.
I have to protect the integrity of the Frog Pond. I can't show you unless I blindfold you.
Okay.
And you're driving. No, It's actually not far. It's over yonder here, and then a ways up there, and then over there.
But not Florida. I thought I was in Florida for the longest
it's right
time.
Over here.
It's Baldwin County.
Hop, skip, and a jump. Kathy Steele does wonderful things out there.
Yeah, I've heard awesome things.
She's got an amazing thing coming up this Sunday. I thought I saw Amy Ray from the Indigo Girls is there, and Grayson Caps. First time I heard Grayson Caps, I haven't heard many people that maybe want to go, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
But Grayson was one of those people, huh?
Dirt Trucks, Grayson Caps, Sonny Landreth. But then I just want to go home and work harder at it. But yeah, just really unique, amazing talent out there, and that's what I love about this place is that 7 days a week there's a gazillion places we can go see somebody awesome. And I didn't really even have that. Chicago's great, but it's so spread out that down here it's more concentrated, and you can just go kaboom kaboom. It's all good, man.
I like that. I like being in between Mobile and Pensacola.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's fun. We've got this little golden triangle thing between those three areas that it's kind of like a big city, but it's a region. Like it's a state local region as opposed to being a big city. So you've got a 30-minute travel time. It was like when I lived in Cincinnati. We lived in the outskirts, so you had to drive 30 minutes to get downtown.
At least.
But everything is there.
Right.
And this area is kind of like that. It's just not as densely populated as a place like Cincinnati or Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago was... And I was on the south side and then in the south suburbs, and there's just so many people in such a concentrated place. And I think Midwestern people and Chicago people in particular are wonderful people. They're very friendly. But they've got this thing called winter. I think it ended today.
No,
temporarily.
Temporary, exactly.
Yeah, temporarily.
It took a break.
Yeah, I remember the last few years I lived up there. There were Memorial Days and like sweatshirts and stuff, and I was like, I couldn't. They have this thing called Southwest Airlines too, which is really awesome. I jump up there to see my family anytime I want. I miss a lot of my friends and my band up there. It's the greatest guys in the world. I'm working on trying to get something together to get them down here for a weekend, just to play a couple things, because it'd be so much fun to have them down here.
Oh, what a party!
Yeah, we played together at GABA Fest, which is a Georgia Allman Brothers Band Association gathering every year in Macon, Georgia. Jack Pearson, who played with the Allman Brothers, he's played over here in Mobile a few times. John Cochran, that wonderful jazz guitar player, has brought him down a few times. And, Jack Pearson is my actual favorite living guitarist. To me, he's untouchable because he can play any genre. Jazz, blues, rock, and he's like one of these effortless guys.
Oh.
Yeah, like he's not even breaking a sweat. Yeah. Just so, what an amazing musician. Anyway.
Like Kolinich, like John Kolinich.
Kolinich, yeah, he's a monster.
It's great. It's amazing being able to watch somebody like that. Like they stand out for sure. It kind of make you want to slap them. It kind of make me want to slap them because I can't play guitar for shit. So.
Well, John Kolinich makes me feel like I can't play guitar for shit.
Not
intentionally. Yeah, no, it's not his goal. Yeah,
no, he's just amazing.
He's a monster, and it's great to hear guys like that and hear how they approach a song and how they approach a solo and how they, when they put a little mini run of notes together and when they back off and let space be the note. And I got to plug my boy because he's my brother from another mother. John's playing with Albert Simpson a lot right now. And
yeah, Albert,
I love you, dude. And he knows it. Albert opened so many doors down here for me.
Yeah. Albert let me chauffeur him around one day, and he hadn't let me do it since, and I'm a little upset with him. So, Albert, if you don't call me and let me chauffeur you around again, we're not going to be friends.
Albert Simpson.
I miss you. Call me.
There is...
He's fucking awesome. Love
he
that
could
dude.
Call me at 5 in the morning if I went to bed at 4:49, and I would get out of bed and do whatever he needed me to do to help him out. I mean, that guy, more than anybody I've ever met, walks the walk.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about, hey, let me know what I can do for you, man. That guy walks the walk, and an amazing songwriter too. So to hear someone like Albert, who's he's a phenomenal lead player in his own right, team up with Johnny, and they've got a new band, Albert Simpson and the Contingent. So search Albert's page on YouTube. They just did a show in Gadsden. I haven't been able to watch all the videos, but there's some clips up, and forget about it, man. Those guys are
the Contingent.
Yeah, it's Kolinich, and I think it's Jason Gwynn on bass, Chase Armstrong on drums. I'm sorry if it's wrong. I think it's the right guys, but all, again, like when I moved to Gadsden, I went up to Little Fort Payne, Alabama.
Fort Payne? I don't know where that is.
You know where that's at?
Yeah.
It's a little place, They were famous, I guess, for making socks back in the day. It's just filled with amazing musicians.
Really?
I'm telling you, they're coming out of the walls everywhere, which is why, you and I have had this conversation before. It's like, you can't get a big head about this because I don't care how good you think you are. Turn around. You've probably got somebody in the back seat that's better than me.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's a good thing. So I look at people like John and Albert and like Grayson and the way these people write and sing, and it's really inspiring me to kind of step back and go in the best possible way and go, you know what, Lefty? You don't know shit. You got a ways to go, which is cool because I think as a musician and an artist, you should always have a ways to go. There should always be something else you're trying to reach and another story you're trying to tell.
If you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
Because if you're not, then why? I mean, aren't you pretty much wrapping it up?
Yeah. There are only two trajectories.
Correct. Yeah. Flatline is bad because that means you're dead.
Right. That is not moving anywhere.
Yeah.
That is not healthy.
Yeah. So what do the flat earthers do? I mean,
Wet the bed mostly.
oh,
I don't know.
you can go right up here and we can go down this beautiful stretch.
Awesome.
There's so many wonderful back roads out here. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. If the Facebook drops out, there's because
Oh, you know what?
It's hard.
Go
for me to
left. Don't go
tell.
right then. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that was kind of a bad area, but you'll be okay over here, I think.
Well, that's okay.
You know, I didn't even think about that before I made this awful decision to take us down where there's no cell towers.
It's not an awful decision at all.
Well,
This says we're still live on Facebook. If you want, you can check it.
Oh yeah, I will do that.
While you're telling people what page you're checking, so they
We
know where to
are.
find your schedule.
Yes, we're.
Do you own LeftyCollins.com?
I think.
You should. Look, it came up. You're our one viewer right now.
Am I?
Yeah.
There's 7 viewers. But I'm frozen.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, it probably
little
dropped
thing-
off when we dropped off because we froze. So
Oh,
no.
still.
Correct. And, feedback. Go down this road out here. It's just amazing.
See, it's still on.
All right. It's on, so we're good. Anyway, so it's where were we? Flat earthers.
Yeah. All they do is make stuff up.
I think it's great. Look, Compton. Y'all don't know this. Compton and I had many long discussions about many topics.
Yeah, that's the other reason that we're here is to solve all the world's problems.
We can do it.
Yeah, we joke all the time. Since Facebook Live is still up, for those of you watching on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll get back into more civilization over here.
According to this, it's still on, which is good. But we always have this running sidebar on the hot button topics. Every once in a while, Lefty will chime in and go, "Hey, solve the world's problems yet?" Of course not. Look at this. Look at this mess that we're watching.
There's always something going on, man. I mean, I don't know.
It's funny though that people watch the podcast or watch some of this stuff and they're like, but nobody's arguing. Like, oh, imagine that. Like, you thought life was all just these heated hot button debates. Like, no, everybody agrees more than they disagree.
Well, that's what I like about your stuff because it becomes social media.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Nice, and it's the internet, Facebook. These are tools, and a tool. If I give you a hammer and you're nailing boards together, that's good use of a tool. If I give you a hammer and you hit yourself in the side of the head as hard as you can, you might want to rethink that.
Yeah,
go with a drill, maybe.
Intended purposes.
Yeah, and so I think it's funny to if you just use it for what it's intended for. But it's gotten kind of weird these last few years, hasn't it?
I think it exposes a lot of the shortcomings in how great we think we are as a species. It's one of the things I'm excited about artificial intelligence for, is because as soon as we flip that switch, people are going to be forced with the realization that even the smartest among us are so dumb.
What do you mean, as soon as we flip that switch?
There won't be any more denying it.
It's a big switch, dude, but it's moving.
They won't be able to deny it anymore.
No. And I don't know. There's advantages and disadvantages and everything, and take the advantages. I'm amazed at some of the stuff I see, and it's how upset people get. One of my favorite things, and if this is you, I apologize. It's just I find it ironic, for lack of a better word, is when somebody gets on Facebook to announce that they've had it and they're getting off Facebook.
Oh yeah, see you in a week.
Right. I mean, well, okay, but why don't you just get off Facebook? That's a film. Why would
it's a beg for attention, which is what social media is. Like that, and that's one of the reasons that I love playing that game with people, is because when people get hot and bothered and want to have an argument,
we go right, I suppose, and loop around.
Okay.
We're again Baldwin County tour.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
we're going the opposite direction of that car.
Speaking of hot topics, are you hungry on the ride up here?
First, Waffle House. Waffle House. I love Waffle House.
Me too.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what happened at the Waffle House other than somebody was being stupid.
Yeah, and I don't think
Isn't that usually what happens? Like somebody's being stupid.
It's usually me, but not at a Waffle House because I will not desecrate that chapel of food.
Hey, if the cops had been at Waffle House in some of my instances, I would have gone to jail too.
Look, who among us has not flicked bacon at a Waffle House? Because we did. We being from the north, we come down to Gadsden those first few times. We didn't know what the Waffle House was, so it's like it's late at night, and this place is called Waffle House is open. Who doesn't like waffles?
Right?
So we go in there, and it was, I mean, are you kidding me? We'd come in Gadsden and stay for the weekend and play a couple of events, and we'd eat at the Waffle House 5 times.
So good.
Yeah.
Dude, we eat at the Waffle House by my house all the time.
Yeah.
So much so we walked in one night with a handle of wild turkey, and they didn't even bat an eyelash. It was me and Andy Brasher, and Robbie Holder, and a couple other people.
Oh, my goodness. I've heard stories of the legendary old days that I missed. Yeah, I missed, like, the 60s for the music scene in the early 70s, because I was just a wee bit of a lad, and I wanted to be a baseball player. And so I missed all that, and missed Dwayne Allman, missed Jimi Hendrix, all that. And then I, missed... I'm always coming in, like, an hour too late, which is okay. Like you said, at least the line's going up. It's not flat. So.
Yeah, as long as you have flat line.
Right.
As long as there is some trajectory.
Yeah, and I don't know, but I addressed that a couple times. I usually don't dive into those brutal, heated debates just because there's no point.
Well, and that gets back to the groupthink, tribalism, this tribal mentality. And there are plenty of studies. Studies have been done over and over and over again. As soon as you can create an us and them or an other, the brain switches and people become assholes. There's science to support it.
I completely agree with that. Like I said, we're going we talk about a ton of stuff, and I think I've made that description. I don't mind Republicans or Democrats. I really don't care either way. What I hate is extremism.
Yeah, because you just push each other apart.
Either direction, right? Because you do this, you divide. Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of what we're all here to do. And the truth is, to me, is always somewhere in the middle. And
right,
and extremism divides. I've made the comparison a few times to you. I liken Congress like they're a football team, like they're so you got the offense and the defense.
Can you imagine if as many people tuned in for the elections as tuned in for the draft?
Oh, or registered to vote, or actually voted, or took the 5 minutes it takes to find out who your people are and what they've done.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it'd be great. I think, and that's the funny thing is that the power is really all in our hands. All you got to do is go vote. And, like term limits, we don't need Congress to impose term limits. We can do that.
Yeah, and I think it's coming in the technology age where everybody updates everything on such a regular basis. The Jeffersonian idea of revising all of the legislation to fit the ideals of the new generation, not to throw anything out, but to word things in a new way so that it's malleable and moves forward and progresses, then we're headed that way because we update things so regularly. It's going to become the norm that people look around and go, when was the last time we updated this? Is this version 1 point yesteryear? What the hell? Aren't we on at least 4.0 now?
1 point feather quail pen? Well, I mean, it's, to be born here and to get to live here is I don't know.
Oh, it's awesome.
Is there a bigger silver spoon that you could be born with?
No. But it's like you said earlier, we should qualify this with the blessed and thankful and grateful, and there's no such thing as a real bad day in my world either, like you said earlier. But I love looking for ways that we could do it better, and oh man, we got some shortcomings.
I mean, it's I think I pinch myself to get to live in this country. I look at people around the rest of the world and some of the problems they have, and it's not perfect, but I'll tell you what, there's no other place I'd rather be.
Yeah, well, what did Carlin say? This world's a freak show, but being born an American means you get a front row ticket.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you got people that will do almost anything they can to come to this country that a lot of people complain about.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude, where I come from, that means you're probably in a good spot.
Yeah, well, and we definitely are.
Not perfect, but, there is no perfect, so...
And that's why it fascinates me that the disparate points get so far away from how can we come together and do this one little thing better. And the issues get so conflated, and people, like you said, get so divided by things that aren't really divisive.
They're not, and I think, again, like you talked about that tribal mentality, and, we've just passed a really somber anniversary for people that lived in the central and the northern part of the state, April 27th. So it's funny, on 2011 on that day, I'm a huge kind of weather fan, junkie, watch the weather. So we watched the weather. You could feel it in the atmosphere that day. Kind of like there's days down here where you can just feel it. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff happened, and so many people lost their lives. And, you don't have to lose your life to have your life turned upside down. We had some friends when that tornado kind of regenerated and came through and missed Southside Alabama by 5 miles, which sounds like a long distance, but it was 1.5 miles wide, dude.
Yeah.
Like from a degrees, 360 degrees, you couldn't even draw a line. But we had friends that lost everything, and we're helping them clean up. And it's one thing to see that kind of devastation on TV or see pictures of it, and you can feel great empathy. But when you're standing there and you do a 360 and everything's gone, it's just amazing to me. And what struck me about that was the way the citizens mobilized and helped each other. There were people from church vans just, pulling up, unloading people. What can we do? People they'd never met before. And it makes me feel proud, and it makes me feel sad that it seems like it takes stuff like that to unite us.
Yeah.
Why does it take a disaster to unite us when, as you alluded to, you and I are on the same page about that. So many of the things we argue about seem trivial sometimes,
It's the downside of luxury, it's...
Boy, that somebody write that down.
Right. It's nothing
That's
new.
a song, man. Oh,
it's nothing new.
the downside of luxury. I like that.
Is that you lose your sense of community and you lose your sense of family. When it's so easy to take everything for granted, then nothing is important. And that's a big problem.
I think it is. And I don't, I've often wondered, what's it going to take? What's it going to take to make people wake up and say, hey, you know what? There's things that unite us. And that's why I feel so privileged and lucky to be able to play music a little bit, is that that's one of the things that just unites people. Sports unites people. Or, it can divide them too, but not in a bad way. And I don't know, I really...
Escapes. Those are both escapes.
They are, and you need those. I'm curious to see where we go from here.
Well, we're going to keep going west for now.
He's segueing over in the comedy world, and this is a big reason why.
I think let's press. There's a button that I have to press to refresh the YouTube recording every 25 minutes. Just because camera companies and whatnot, it's a money thing. Oddly enough, the reason I have to press that button is because if that camera doesn't reset every 25 minutes, it costs an extra like $10,000. Hey, kitty cat, run,
Kitty?
run!
Don't get hit.
So, and how stupid is that? Like they can make the camera keep on keeping on, but because of the money and the way that it's registered as the type of camera that it is, changes because of how long it can record.
And that's another dichotomy we've talked about with art and money and getting paid, and it's hard. Music is awesome, but guys are out there struggling and trying to make a living and have spent years perfecting their craft.
Mm-hmm.
And like I referenced some of these players earlier, I could go 97 times and list out all these great players. We mentioned one of them earlier, Jonathan Newton, who's just ridiculously good. And it's really, it's tough, man. It'd be great if everything were free, but people got rent, man. Mm-hmm. And it's just the way it is. So it's all good though. So how you been doing, man?
I've been awesome.
Banging it out, man, with the comedy stuff.
I have.
Why don't you plug yourself on your old podcast for a change?
Because I don't... Is that what we're doing now?
No, right. Well, no, we're not. I mean,
No, you get nervous.
I told you there was 6 minutes of space in this head, dude, and you've taken like a half an hour of it.
Okay. So what I'm
buddy. I mean, it should be just us talking anyway, right?
It is. I'm just giving you a hard time. So what I'm up to is comedy, stand-up comedy. The stand-up comedy community in Mobile and Pensacola has been very kind to me and given me a place to go and be, and so I wanted to try and start booking comedy shows to get more comedians paid and to get more comedy around and build a bigger comedy community. Because one, I should have been doing comedy a long time ago, and two, if I ever want to make a living at it, there are a lot of comedians that deserve to get paid before me. So coming up with more ways for more comedians to get paid means that maybe I can make a living at it one day too.
That's a wonderful thing. It's tough, and it's a challenge too. I know for another benefit of living on the Gulf Coast is that the audience comes to you.
Yeah.
As opposed to other parts of the country where you have to hustle. And I know one of the great concerns about a lot of my musical brethren is that how do we get people to come out to shows, because people under, insert your number, what you think the age point would be, don't want to go out to see a show anymore. And it's a challenge. You know, it really is.
And that's one of the things I've really, really clung to in regards to comedy, is the difference between those crowds. Because I think there's always been a connection between music and comedy from a show standpoint.
Sure.
But a stand-up comedy audience is more like a songwriter audience. Because they're there to listen. They want you to lead them through. That's the deal, is we're going to give over and you're going to take us on a trip that's funny.
You're not background.
Right.
And you know,
bingo.
I've done both things, and there's a place for both things, and you know, a lot of the stuff that I do down here, you know, you are. I mean, you're part of the experience, you're not the whole experience.
Yeah.
And totally get that. It's great when, that's like the thing I referenced earlier, the GABA Fest in Macon. Well, that was what's amazing about that kind of stuff. And like the Frog Pond and places like that, is that the whole point of that is, let's give, you know, this, it's all about that particular thing. So
yeah,
I can see the correlation. Absolutely.
And that's awesome.
That's a big change for you. Exciting, right?
Oh yeah, I haven't been a performer in so long. You know, the last big stage and show I was on was Drum Corps.
Wow.
So I was 18.
So you're a drummer?
No, brass.
Okay, all right.
A bugler.
I was gonna say, because if you're a drummer, that explains a lot. Now I understand a ton of stuff.
I know. Unfortunately, it's not that simple.
Is it ever?
No.
What a beautiful son. My goodness.
Yeah. So
yeah,
so comedy. That's what I'm up to, is booking these
fantastic
comedy shows. Stinger's Comedy, Back Porch Comedy if you're in Pensacola, Whatever Comedy in Mobile Comedy, and Blind Mule if you're in Mobile. Please come check it out. But growing that scene is the same thing as getting back to growing these audiences that don't just want to go out and get trashed and have a live jukebox play songs that they've heard and know all the lyrics to and don't mean anything, that aren't a real experience. I want there to be shows and entertainment that people take real memories away from because they're involved in something. And a lot of that goes into the way that people develop memories, and people develop memories in specific ways.
Take it to the Hopes. Go ahead.
Well, that's too... You gotta tell me quicker, man. We got gear.
No, I said go that way.
Oh, okay, my bad.
No, you're all good. You're on the... I
thought I was missing a turn.
I said
quicker.
I said, well, if you go down that road, that little signal problem you experienced earlier is going to happen again.
Oh, yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
If it drops, it drops. It'll be on YouTube.
You don't get no bars over there, Compton. You get negative bars.
Good.
They take them away.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
If you ever want to get negative bars, I got a couple places you can go to. And and but that's what's so fun about being down here for me, is the variety that's out there. And I'll say it again, just the talent here is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, and that's another reason that I want to see more attentive audiences. One, because I think that's a sign of intelligence, and it's a sign of good on you, for one, to be on that level and involved in the show. And it also makes for a better experience for the entertainers, and it showcases people's talent. Because when somebody comes up and they're like, oh man, that guy played that cover that I've heard 1,000,000 times and played it really well. Like, well, what does that really mean to you? As opposed to hearing that guy's original song that you heard him play really well. What does that mean to you? Those two things can be totally different experiences.
They are. And it's funny, I'll be very candid, I've never had original thought in my life, and I'm proud of it. I'm serious, because, I'm able to make it this far, so... If you keep going all the way out here, you know this road, right?
Yeah.
Take you all the way out to the Fairhope, yeah. Is when I see somebody like Albert Simpson come down. I think the first time we were at the beach, we still lived in Gadsden. I saw him playing at Lulu's, and it was just funny to see what he did and how he did it. Here's a cover y'all know.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the cover you might not know. It's Grateful Dead or Allman Brothers. Here's an Albert Simpson song.
That's
I've tried to emulate that. It's like, here's one of my songs. Here's one you don't know. Hope you like it. Here's one that I like. Because, I'll play some covers, but it's got to be stuff that I like. I can't not play stuff that I enjoy playing. It's otherwise, I'm not going to do it. So,
yeah. And that's an awesome step. I want to get us... I would like to be involved in a community. I say get us, but I'd like to be involved in a community where the requests are the originals, where you just drop that first, here's one that everybody knows, here's one that you hadn't heard in a long time. That's what I like about what Newton's doing with JoJo Perez, is that it's all covers that you know, but you don't hear every day.
Right, and that's what I strive for too.
Yeah.
B-sides, they called them back in the day or whatever, or deep cuts or whatever you want, but... What I've found down here, at least in my experience, is I think even if people don't recognize all the stuff you're playing, if you're giving 100% and you're laying it on the table, a great portion of the audience, no matter where you are, is going to respect that, and they're going to pay attention to it.
Sure.
So I watched Albert, and I was like, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Show me who's killing it, and let me copy that guy and my way and do what I can, and But he's
such a killer, man. And those blue eyes, man. Oh, every time it's like you and those Blugels, Albert.
Blugels. Yeah, and we could go on forever. I'm not leaving anybody out. Everybody's great.
Right.
What do you do in an area where everybody's great? It makes for fun listening.
Invest in earplugs, because you're going to be listening a lot.
Yeah, and
not because you want to tune it out, just because you want to be able to listen longer.
What?
I know.
What?
Be healthy.
Yeah, many times in my teens and my 20s.
I can't hear.
I can feel the bass, man. I can feel the bass. Now I can't hear the bass, but I could feel it back then, which was really special. Unbelievable. Yeah, so it's cool. And I think with comedy, too, same thing. If you can build it up and get that experience going. Those are special. Those are really special nights. Like when we did the Blues Challenge and things like that. We played all those years at the House of Blues. It's a dining experience on the lower stage, and there's a concert hall upstairs. But people come to hear the music. They come to hear what you're doing. And it's just neat. Those are the experiences that really, they matter a lot.
So something not a lot of people talk about. On the backside, I had a week a couple of weeks ago that was just good news, victory, bam, bam, bam. Like, it was a great week.
It's awesome.
And then afterwards, it was like, oh shit, now we're not doing anything. Like, what's going on here? Like, why are we not winning? Why are we not accomplishing things? So, how do you come down from mega, massive weekends, massive trips like that? What's it like for you to be like, dude, 2 days ago I was on stage in front of how many people?
It happened. When we did the Blues Challenge, that time I referenced in Memphis, the place was packed. We're at the Orpheum Theater.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday.
Yeah.
I think it was the following Tuesday or Wednesday maybe. I did an acoustic solo thing at a place in Gadsden on Broad Street, and there was like 5 people drinking and watching football or whatever it was, basketball, and that's the gig, man. That's the deal. You take the good with the bad, and I know I'm a bit of a spaz when I play, but it's funny that I used to watch Anniversary of Elvis's death and kind of go, come on, man. If people are flipping out, they're upset, they're crying, and I was just too naive and stupid to realize what was really going on. And then Stevie Ray Vaughan died.
Ooh.
And I'll never forget where I was, shucking a bottle of water on a route truck. Weren't supposed to have a radio in the little transistor radio. I finished my route, I pulled over, I turned it on, and that's the first I heard the news, because I was at work at 6 a.m., so I didn't hear any of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize that any moment could be the last time I get to touch a guitar.
Yeah.
That could be, the gig I played last night could very well be my last. I'll be right one day, and I don't want that last one to be something I mailed in, because what we get to do is a privilege. It's not a right. I don't care how much we've worked. people have worked harder.
Mm-hmm.
For those of us that get to work a lot, there's an element of right place, right time, luck involved in it. I've always said it's easy to get a gig. It's hard to keep a gig.
Yeah.
Easy to get, hard to keep. You have to do the right things. But that just shook me to my core. And I said, you know what? Every time, this could be the last time, and I'm going to treat it like it is. So, and certainly being inspired by all the talent around here is just a wonderful thing. And I kind of deal with it like that. I just try to remind myself how blessed I am to get to pick up an instrument. I was telling you before we started the broadcast, when I started playing, I was a huge Allman Brothers fan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, the Allman Brothers, and I'm a Grateful Dead fan. And so they led me back to the blues. They taught me the blues because I started going, who's McKinley Morganfield?
Nice.
Who's Willie Dixon? Yeah. Oh, gee, they're all right here in your city, dumbass. Hello. Down on 43rd, and, Buddy Guy and all these people. So, I mean, and that was my gateway drug, was to see all this wonderful stuff. And I thought, Eat a Peach, Fillmore East, those are great albums. And I'm listening to Mountain Jam one day, and I'm thinking, Lord, I could never just play along with this record and not have it sound like, a cat's dying. That'd be awesome. And then all of a sudden, I played a lot of blues for a span of 7-8 years. It was just, that's the world I was in. And I was flipping through my albums one day and said, oh man, I'm gonna put on Eat a Peach. Turned on my guitar. I was like, and the licks just came out. I never sat down to learn them. They were just there by osmosis because I'd heard that album and just wore it out. And
once you learn that language,
it was right. That's a perfect description. It's a language. It's a communication, and so I thought to myself, wow, okay, maybe I should ask God for more.
I don't want to be greedy, man.
I was thinking,
but can I? Just a little. Just a little more. Just a spoon.
God's up in heaven, going. You just want to play with a record? Done. There you go. All right, who's next? So
on to real shit.
But thank you. I mean, I got what I wanted, man. So how lucky am I?
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Indeed.
And then I moved down to Gadsden and met Albert, and there was a kindred spirit, and it just led to so many wonderful things. So that's my way of coming down, is to not come down, is to just appreciate the moment I'm given, try and stay in that moment, appreciate it, and move on to the next moment, and realize that they might not all be good news, massive winners, but man, everyone counts. Yeah. Everyone affects the next moment in some small way, and it goes back to what we talked about, something you're doing now that seems insignificant to you. You might be crossing a path that you're not even aware of that's going to turn your life in a direction that you never expected. If you'd have told me I'd be living on the Gulf Coast, and I never would have in a million years guessed it. So
getting in trouble for flying your drone in your backyard.
Oh man, don't. Oh, should we go there? All right.
Sorry.
We're both drone enthusiasts when I have the time, which is very little lately. Yeah, and so I got it just for the excitement of it. I thought, it'd be really cool to know how to do this in case of an emergency, if there was some sort of disaster, a hurricane, tornado, if people needed help finding. There's a million things you can do with a drone that are good.
Yeah.
It never entered my mind about invading people's privacy or anything like that. So anyway, I get this drone, and I'm trying to fly it in the backyard. I'm not like the guy that takes it out of the box and says, hey, let's go by the Pensacola airport and bring it up to 400 feet and see what we can do. Although I know a guy. And he got it up about 15 feet and it immediately disabled. And I'm like, dude, it's the government. You're by an airport.
Yeah, I think they broke it.
So I showed him the Before You Fly app anyway. And so I started flying, started getting good, started going down the street a little bit at night. And, I had a neighbor tell me that not them, but the house next to them, they were kind of, they had expressed concern about what my motives were with this drone. And I'm no peeping Tom.
You pervert.
Yes, but I'm no peeping Tom. And it kind of threw after I stopped laughing for reasons I won't go into. Wink, wink. Read between the lines. Let's just say I wouldn't want to be looking at people's houses.
Or wrinkles, whichever.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like the way you fill that in nice. But I was like, it never dawned on me, because again, limited intelligence, that some people could be possibly threatened by that. And they are. So I've taken to going to, open spaces where there's no people. And, plus it drives my dogs crazy. They want to tear it up, dude.
I bet.
Can't even have them out in the yard.
Yeah, anything that makes that much racket.
The border collie bird dog just...
Yeah, that thing needs to come down.
Like, it's nice, though, like, in the middle of winter, when everybody's got their Christmas lights on, to go up and take a look at the aerial view of all the lights. It's really... There's a lot of neat things you can do with it. That and Peeping Tom stuff, which is really cool.
Right. Don't forget. Purpose number one.
Lest we forget.
Right.
But I love watching your drone cast. One day we're going to have a drone race or something.
You would torch me.
I don't know, man. I'm out of practice.
My little Phantom 4. Well, I got the sport mode. I can get up to like 26 miles an hour, I think. I think the Phantom, you got a 3 or a 4?
I got a 4. It can go up to like 35, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got me torched.
Yeah.
It's just you got bigger motors, man. Like
that's what she said. You know what? I'd let you win for a while to keep it competitive. And then one day...
Just to keep you interested.
Yeah, one day I stumbled across, ESPN, the Ocho. And I see competitive drone racing.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, these guys, these young kids, I give them a lot of credit. They're making cash playing poker on TV, and they're drone racing on TV. And
and now we're on YouTube.
I miss the boat, man.
Nah, we're a boat, man. They didn't make this boat when you were buying boats.
No, they did not. This boat wasn't even on the drawing board, man.
No, man, that's like before there were wave runners.
Right.
Because those are horrible. I bought one of those. This is a horrible idea.
Did
if
you
anybody
buy
wants to buy my wave runner, you can have it. Yeah. It's a really nice one. It's a Yamaha SUV. It's an old school,
So
cool,
why is it horrible?
Boats sink, Lefty.
But if you want to buy his, it's really good.
Mine hasn't sunk, but if you don't dump excessive amounts of money into them, boats sink.
We've talked about that. My wife Leanne and I have talked about that. And, she's beautiful and she's intelligent. And she pretty much carries the load in the relationship. And no, but there you go. It went all blue on me. As we passed balloons everywhere.
Did you see that rabbit hole?
Yeah, I did take both pills, didn't I? So, we talked about that. That was the first thing she said. They're money pits, man. And everybody who has a boat, most everybody's like, yeah, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get in your boat. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. I'm like, okay. I'm going to listen to you good folks because you have boats.
So cool, so much fun, great to be able to hop on it and go, but the thousands of dollars it takes to be able to hop on one and go, to keep one in good running order, it's just, it's a tricky thing. It's a really tricky thing. If you're a boat enthusiast and you're into that, good on you. Please call us. We'd love to ride on your boat.
That is the key. We didn't say we were anti-boat. We're not anti-boatites.
We're just not rich.
I'm not rich. No, neither am I. Yeah, I'm not rich at all. So.
Not boat rich. Do you know how much medicine I can smoke for a boat?
Not boat rich. What was your other one earlier? About the... I'll have to watch the podcast.
Yeah, I need a better reference than that.
We were talking about society, something about problems of the rich societies, but you phrased it differently. Anyway.
Luxury problems?
Luxury problems and boat rich.
Yeah.
Those are your takeaway, kids.
There you go.
You can't write songs off of that.
Hashtag.
You should probably not bother.
Yeah, old concepts, just new terms. That's what we do now.
New terms is what it's all about. How much, really.
Terminology.
Has anybody come up with a new wheel yet?
Let's see. Yeah.
What?
That would look something like quantum mechanics.
Okay.
I think. Are
they a band?
Not a new circle, just a new wheel.
A better wheel, but the basic design has not changed.
Have you ever seen something? Yes, correction. There is something better than the wheel, and it's on these. So it's a wheel that has these little rollers in it. So all around as the tread, it has rollers.
Oh, I've seen those.
So these things can rotate 360 degrees and then move side to side, forward and backwards. So, yeah, if you're driving on round wheels.
Do you have those on this car?
Yeah, we do.
Can we do some stuff?
We'll flip a
Look at that.
Yui here in a few minutes.
Yeah, they literally flip a Yui.
While we're driving. So, there are ways. We're pushing past old conventions.
We are, but I mean, my point being that
there's
things
no reinventing the circle.
That right, we're trading on these original ideas.
Right.
The blues masters created. I mean, I think of people like Muddy and Buddy just creating, Robert Johnson, creating something out of absolutely nothing. It did not exist. Baling wire and stringing stuff together because they were so driven and motivated to get this sound out of their body.
Yeah.
It was in their body and in their mind and in their heart and in their soul. And what has come of all that, just,
Well, that goes back to the connectivity that everybody experiences and why music is so important. Because vibration, we're talking about this very simple, fundamental thing that we all experience and we're all a part of. Just the rhythm of your heart, the rhythm of your breath, the sound of air moving through your lungs. It pervades everything we exist in. And so to be able to pluck a string and have that language meet somebody else or be able to manifest this thing that is a communicative idea through vibration, that's freaking amazing. Do you ever look at people and just go, I wish you knew something about music so I could explain this to you?
No, what I do is I wish everybody could feel what it feels like that joy of being able to pick it up and just have something cohesive come out. And I'll reference what started me on that path. I grew up as a kid. Everybody knows I'm a huge Cubs fan, and I love baseball. And I think baseball is life to me because there's no clock. So you could be down, as the Cubs illustrated so beautifully a couple of weeks ago. They were losing to the Braves by like 9 runs. It was 30 degrees and rain and snow, and it was the 7th or 8th inning. They came back and won the game. Yeah, but if there was a clock, there was a finite amount of time. If you're down by 3 touchdowns and there's 40 seconds left, I don't care how good your kickoff return team is, you ain't winning.
Yeah,
and that's why I love baseball. Anyway, so I met had a group of kids I ran with, our buddies back in the little neighborhood in Chicago, and we had brothers that were like 3 or 4 years older than us that were, so when we were 12, 13, those guys were really cool, and we were not. And so we went to my buddy's little basement, and he just went upstairs to his brother's room and swiped some albums. So among them were Allman Brothers at Fillmore East,
nice.
Allman Brothers Eat a Peach, Live Dead by the Grateful Dead, Skull and Roses, just some of the stuff that really got me on the track. And that was it. It was over for me. I heard that opening lick for Statesboro Blues at Fillmore East, and it was over. And to this day, when I play a shuffle, the warmth and the electricity in my body, I wish everybody could. So this guy loved music more than anybody I ever met, and couldn't play a lick of anything. Just could not. It wasn't there. He never tried. He's like, I know there's no way I can do it. I love music, and so that would be my wish: is that people that enjoy music is just had a chance to feel what it feels like when you're on stage with a band. I miss that so much about being in a band, is that it becomes something that you're sharing with somebody else. And multiple people are contributing to get to a higher place. A place that you can't get to by yourself.
That's that catastrophe response coming together.
Again, and that's, I didn't even think of that, but I kind of like that. I like when people come together. And I missed that. I had that with my guys in Chicago, and it was just amazing. We hadn't played together for, goodness, it was like 3 years or 4 years. And I flew up to Chicago. We did it backwards. We did a gig on a Saturday night and then a rehearsal on a Sunday afternoon. A week before we did this thing in Macon, and it was just, it was like we hadn't missed a day.
Nice.
It just went right back to where it was because of all those hours of 10 years of playing gigs and rehearsing twice a week. There was like a 4-year period where we just rehearsed twice a week, 3 hours, 4 hours, just going at it.
It's good though.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Repetition.
But we didn't do it like that.
No, how did you guys
we would do the same songs, but they weren't done. Think of the Allman Brothers. So I would go see 5 nights of Allman Brothers shows in a row, because yeah, they might play some of the same songs, but they wouldn't be done the same way. They wouldn't be note for note recreations of like the album. I mean, I have great respect for people that play covers note for note. That's one way to do it. But if I go to see a band live, that's why, you know, we went and saw Tedeschi Trucks in Pensacola, and it was just soberingly magnificent. And they don't do the same thing every night. It's different. There's that element of space of creativity.
Yeah.
And so what we practiced was, I would purposely put the band in uncomfortable situations by calling out right-hand turns or left-hand turns on stage when they weren't expecting it. Because it forced us to start to read each other. And so when I went back up there, that's kind of what happened. It's like they knew, I just reacted instinctively. My guitar player laughed. Like, I know when you start to turn your shoulder that way, what you're going to do. And he does. Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing. And it's so humbling, you know. And there's some really cool bands down here that are really, really good at that kind of. They have that history. You can't replace history. You can't replace hours and weeks and months and years of playing with the same people, whether it's even a duo or whatever.
Yeah.
You just kind of know that you can take it to that. What's the word I'm looking for? You can take it to that unknown space, and it'll be okay.
Right.
Figure it out. It'll work. And so, yeah, it's
okay. Everybody knows how to turn into the skid.
Well, you know, they all laugh. They go, "We just follow you, and if you crash, it's your fault."
Well, let me reset this before I ask you this question. That it takes that long.
That's okay.
Hey, what's going on? Somebody, Mike from No Mercy. That's right, No Mercy.
So it was the No Mercy Blues Band, then it was Lefty Collins and the No Mercy Band, then it was the Lefty Collins Band. It was really, it's back in the day. I was having some issues with people leaving, you know, as they do. They leave bands, and you try to market something, and you're trying to get into venues, and I want to give them what I marketed to them.
Sure.
And so if somebody leaves, it changes the chemistry and the dynamic.
It's another thing altogether.
A guy pretty high up in the entertainment business was a friend of mine. I was whining to him one day about it. He's like, "Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, who books all the gigs?" I'm like, "Well, I do." He goes, "Who writes all the songs?" "Well, I do." He goes, "More importantly," I love the way he did this. He saved the bit. He goes, "More importantly, where does every head turn when there's a problem?" He said to me, and he's like, "Well, then it's your band. Don't feel bad about putting your name in front of it." And I'm
There
like,
you
okay. So, you know, fair enough. But
That's funny you mentioned that. I had that same conversation recently. Somebody told me the same thing. They said, "Yeah, if it's you, it's you. Like, you're the brand."
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's not really even about. It wasn't about ego for me because I already knew my name. So
No, it's about value of product.
It's about value of product. It's about, you know, being able to, and even now, there's a certain level of quality I want to bring to a venue, and I want control over that. I want to be able to say, "Hey, when you hire me, you're going to get this, 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 and this."
Yeah.
And you're going to get it every time. I may break a string. I may have a frog in my throat. I may smell funny. But the rest of that stuff you're going to get.
If you're worried about the other things, you should have said so beforehand.
Look, I bathe twice a week whether I need it or not. So, you know what?
Mm-hmm. Well, we kind of danced around it, but I want your opinion on music and health. How, in your world, are music and health related? Because de-stressing, not being under stress is valuable for health. Community is valuable for health. There's science that says just the way our lungs vibrate because of the air moving through ever smaller channels is valuable in the frequency that vibrates. So, in your life, how has music and health been a thing, or is it something you've never even thought about before?
Think about it all the time. It saved my life. I mean, it saved my life, and I don't say that to be dramatic or melodramatic. It literally saved my life. It's led me to so many places, and it just has an effect on me unlike anything else in the world.
Yeah.
It can change my mood. It can change my thought process. It can change how and obviously that all affects how you feel physically. Like I said, you put on a shuffle, man, and
you're right back.
Dude, there's just nothing about music that's bad. The music business is different.
Well, business is bad,
but
don't associate music.
Business isn't always bad, but most of the time. But
business, man.
Music is it's air to me.
Yeah.
It's life to me. It's the drug. It's everything. And I have as much fun, and my wife can attest to this. When you drop me off, I'm going to change strings on a guitar, and then I'm going to sit down, stretch them out, and play it. And I'm going to be having as much fun as I did on the stage of the Orpheum Theater.
Nice.
Because it's loaned to me. It doesn't belong to me.
Yeah.
My God loaned that to me with a purpose in mind, I believe. And that purpose is take this and do something good.
Yeah.
Because when you stand before me, I'm going to ask you what you did with what I gave you. Had he given me the 95-mile-an-hour fastball, we'd be having a different discussion. He did not. He gave me a 78-mile-an-hour fastball, which is effective on little leaguers when you're in your 30s.
Is that the level we're at?
But not much else. Yeah, dude. And I was a good contact hitter, but I ran a 7.5 to first base. Baseball people will get that.
Yeah, man, 7.5. That's a nice jog.
No, believe me, man. Children were out racing me. Well, and again, it wasn't for lack of heart or effort. And so that's what he loaned me, and I feel like it is air to me. It really is. And
so you play music and you watch baseball now.
Oh yeah. And
we got to talk about baseball for a little while because your Cubbies have just been doing you good over the years.
My Cubbies
recently,
yeah,
right?
It's really
some good times.
Some real good times, and it's just an amazing game. I know it bores a lot of people, especially
not Ravencraft. Bobby Ravencraft.
Ravencraft's my boy, man. So. Tony Ray's a huge Cub fan. There's a lot of them down here. I was really surprised, and yeah, they were kind of like the struggle of life. Maybe not. Yeah, I think life's easier than being a Cub fan was for a while. They were just really bad, and the whole story is they hadn't won a World Series since 1908, and they hadn't been to the World Series since 1945. I'm not afraid to say how old I am. I was born in 1960. So the first full year I really got in and watched all the games was like 68, and they were on free TV, like the Braves were. And then when cable got on, so the Cubs and the Braves had these massive national audiences because TBS and WGN. So anyway, they won the division in 84, and it was awesome, and then they broke our hearts by choking and blowing it in the playoffs, and again in 89, and I could tell you the plays and who all these people were, and it was one of those things. They were snake bitten, and everybody has a bad century, so wow, you can make we'll go in the dead zone here. Just keep going. Okay. We'll go around the dead zone.
I like that.
And so finally, when Theo Epstein came aboard, 2011, he said, okay. Theo Epstein was the general manager of the Red Sox, helped them win a World Series and break their curse. So this is a guy that doesn't play. He just doesn't worry about what other people think. He executes his business plan, and he trusts that inner voice of his own and just does it. Not going to be perfect. We're going to make mistakes along the way, but he was very transparent.
He doesn't worry about how he comes down after a victory.
Nope,
is what you're telling
he does not. He just is worried about, where's my next prospect.
Yeah.
Process. So anyway, they get the 2015 was the first year. They got really good, made the playoffs, advanced, and then got annihilated in the National League Championship Series by the Mets. But you knew it was coming. So
the kettle was gonna boil.
Dude, it was gonna boil. It was gonna happen. So 2016 was the year. They led start to finish, and they won the World Series. And it was funny, I had been putting money away for a long time.
Yeah.
Saving up. Nobody believed me. Got a World Series fund. Everybody's like, yeah, well, you're a Cubs fan? Go buy a car. And I understand that. I mean, I get it. So anyway,
So how big a bet did you make?
I didn't make a bet. Well, I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, we were able to procure our spot at Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah, cool.
In Cleveland.
Very cool.
And it's hard to describe. I mean, we can't put the DVD in without getting, and it's about what stuff means to people. I mean, down here, War Eagle, Roll Tide, y'all have won championships. You don't know what it's like when you don't. But they're good. They made it to the National League Championship Series the last 3 years. They're kicking ass and taking names this year, and they've got a great young team, and they're going to be good for a while. And I got to be honest with you, it's a switch. it's different, but I liked there's a lot of baseball players that want to be musicians and vice versa, and some that are, like Jake Peavy.
Yeah.
Good
dude.
Another Albert Simpson connection. Who's done a lot of. I don't have the pleasure of knowing Jake, but I know we have many mutual friends. And
I've gotten to meet him. He's an awesome dude, and he does great things in the community, man.
Great things for Mobile.
Awesome dude. Hell of a dad, too. Like, his kids are always right there. He's a champ, man. He's a champ.
They're special people, and so it's always been. Those are my two loves before Leanne, and kids and grandbaby, and just.
How many you got, grandbaby?
I got a grandbaby. She's up in DC area. Yeah, she's a munchkin. So
nice.
Life is. I'm blessed. I don't know. Like I said,
we
talked earlier. I think I'm having a bad day, but I'm not having a bad day. I'm just
for the guy who comes across the video of his fiance's grandfather riding around in a Pilot. Don't fuck it up. You're welcome.
I don't even top that.
All that shit taken care of.
So it's been fun. It's been fun to.
That's great, man.
And Leanne's a huge Notre Dame football fan. And it's funny. So, born in Louisiana, raised basically in West Memphis, Arkansas. People are like, "How are you a Notre Dame fan?" Well, it's the Lou Holtz connection. She loved Lou Holtz. Lou leaves Arkansas. He goes to Notre Dame, and the rest is history. So we've been blessed. We've got to do some really cool stuff, and
it's awesome.
I feel really. It's wonderful to be at a spot in your life where you're, on so many levels, you just feel blessed and fulfilled and lucky and whatever. Insert word here. I'm very, and that's kind of to come full circle. It kind of makes me sad for so many other people that seem so stressed and conflicted. At a time when I feel so blessed.
Well, and I totally agree. And it makes me wonder how and why, since we have so much control over the world that we live in through participation, why this same mentality, the same agreement that if we put anybody else in this car with us, they would agree with us. Because you just can't be a living, breathing human being and not be okay with loving people and not being in a fight all the time. Nobody wants to be in a fight all the time. So you can't disagree with the better things in life, and it blows me away how there is still this divisiveness because there is this concept of the other. And people just... We need more catastrophe. I know that sounds horrible, but we need more catastrophes so that we can get more coming together as opposed to this more time at each other's throats. Somehow, some way. Like Reagan said, we need the aliens, because then if there were an other, maybe we could come together. But,
dude, they're here. Come on. They're just waiting for their moment.
I listen, I'm big into plant medicine and altered states of consciousness, and all the stuff that I'm reading and listening to from people that have had experiences, way deeper experiences than I've ever had, tell stories about how all of these ancient abduction stories between fairies and aliens and any form you can come up with, the therianthropes of ancient cultures, the animal-headed people, all of that is reported commonly through...
You go left at 59 and we can start to head back. You're holding your coffee, so I will roadie for you here.
Awesome. But all of those things are connected. Like people were saying, on ayahuasca, you get into these seemingly other dimensional spaces, or these altered states of consciousness that are basically the same descriptions that people come back with alien abductions, crazy abductions.
Yeah.
So... it's very fascinating how we're learning about all that stuff now. It's becoming more mainstream and less taboo.
Well, for me, I'll be candid. As night starts to fall here, I don't know how. And the one thing I really come to appreciate from the day I moved to Alabama is just the sky.
Yeah,
how amazingly beautiful it is.
Day or night sky?
Both. Just,
sure.
A crisp, cool day in northern Alabama with that deep blue sky.
Nice.
Heading up 59 north, past Fort Payne, going toward Chattanooga with those mountains, Little River Canyon. There's so much beauty in this state, and I think the one thing that I've learned early and often is people in the other 49 have no real concept of, most people, what Alabama's all about. How beautiful a state it is, and how wonderful a lot of the people really are. But you look up in the sky and you look at all the stars, and I find it very difficult to believe that we're alone. I can't accept that.
Well, wouldn't that just be a waste of space?
Well, that's what they say. One of my favorite movies was Contact. Just because of the premise of it was just so cool. And, I think it is, again, I don't have all the answers.
That's loosely based on a true story, right?
Yes.
I think anybody that comes out and says, I have the answers, you should get a free shot to the nuts. Just because that dude's an asshole. Because nobody has the answers. If somebody had the answers, then everybody would agree. But you have all these ways for people to drive wedges and be divisive because nobody has the answers, which is one of the reasons everybody needs to sit in the goddamn middle and go, but what are we really talking about?
Well, or how about if instead of attacking your opposing point of view, why don't I take a deep breath and listen?
Right. Like, how is this the same?
How did you get there?
Yeah.
Not even convince me, just show me how you got there. I think if you get to a point where you just really believe, like go back to music, if the day ever comes where I'm not searching or reaching, it's over.
Yeah.
I'm selling my shit, I'm done. I'm serious.
It's not fun, I'm out.
What's the point? And that's the thing that I'm kind of amazed at.
Well, that's the trajectory. Like, you're either on that trajectory or on the other one.
We used to have discussions, though. I mean, it wasn't. There's always been extremists, but it feels like you said, like there's just this divide thing, and going back to that whole Congress, Republican, Democrat football team. You got offense, you got defense.
Yeah.
Okay. Separate game plans, separate meeting rooms. They do their own thing. They're diametrically opposed in what they do because they practice against each other, banging their heads all week. But they play for the same shield. So what is it on?
And that shield is an S with two lines through it.
Yes, it is. It is. And so that congressmen and senators, $172,000 a year for life.
Yeah. So
Speaker of the House, $240,000 a year for life, or some outrageous amount of money. And it's just like, wow.
Career politicians, man, we got to get rid of that shit.
Really? I mean, wow. So, okay. What about our veterans that can't get in the hospital? Am I missing something here? There's something wrong. To me, there's something wrong about that. And so instead of arguing and fighting, and why don't we talk? Why don't we come up with some ways? I may feel this way. If I attack you, there's one thing I'm assured of. I'm going to get angry and feel the same way.
Right.
And not be any more knowledgeable about the subject.
Right.
If I engage you and say, okay, well, tell me, why do you feel that way? What's it all about? At least I have the chance to broaden my mind a little bit, see things from a perspective that I may not be looking. It's easy to see things through our own prism, I mean, we're all like this.
Yeah.
Guess what? If we're all like this, then everybody else is like that.
Yeah.
And how you have to me, if you don't take those blinders and stretch them a little bit, you're just never going to get better. You're never going to grow. And there's a lot of just unnecessary angst, man. Life throws you enough. I don't know why you go on the internet,
right?
Type crap, and I think, I mean, and this. I'm defriending people. I'm defriending my family.
Because Facebook matters. I'll tell you a funny story. This is how important some people think social media is. I'm standing on stage, first ever Stingers comedy, Flying Harpoon 2. We're there the third Saturday of every month. I'll say it again. Stingers comedy, Flying Harpoon 2 in Orange Beach, third Saturday of every month. Come check it out.
Plug-o-matic.
So I'm standing on stage. We're doing this open mic, and this kid, I say literally this kid, come to find out he was 13, stands up and has something to say, wants to heckle me, and he's like, you're not funny, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
And he had been talking some smack to some other comedians, and I wasn't real happy with him to begin with, but he looks at me, and this was his heckle. He goes, I got 10,000 followers on Instagram. I looked at him, and I said, what's an open mic? Come up here and tell a joke, see how many of them laugh. He did not like it.
And Johnny has been in therapy ever since.
He did not like it.
Well, but okay. But what a bar, though. What a bar. I've got 10,000 followers. Great.
Yeah, good for you.
That's fantastic, man. What's it done for you?
Yeah. Or how did you use that to help somebody else?
Well, no, right. So I post something, and then I've heard this too. I don't know if it's true or not. I guess it is, based on what you just said. That like they'll put something out there, some of these younger folks, and they'll like keep checking the likes. The amount of likes. Yeah. They're like crushed.
Yeah, because it's one of the reasons that a lot of the Facebook founders and all those guys don't let their kids use social media, because they found, the science shows, it is a drug. It's as addictive as cocaine. That checking the likes, checking the likes, pressing the buttons. Do it, man. Make sure you share this shit. Are there any comments on here? Do we need to do an AMA? Because
people think you're good looking and I'm ugly.
That's about right.
I'm not arguing.
I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that's what they say.
Nicely played, my friend. Yeah, I don't.
It's fascinating.
It's because a tool, man.
I have fallen victim to my own nonsense and gotten involved in social media. God.
Trust me, it's taken a while to get to where I'm at.
But I enjoy the experience. Like you were talking earlier about practicing and what it is to get together and just play and experience that, so you can be prepared for the future. You know, the intersection of timing, of opportunity and preparedness. That's the definition.
Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Boom. And that made me think of something else. I forgot. What was it?
Sorry!
No, it's okay.
I read that on a billboard.
Yeah. And it's that repetition that is really, really important. I did forget where I was going because I had another thought, but...
Social media.
Yeah, it's part of the exercise is if you're going to engage in an argument, you have to understand what it is and why it's taking place.
Yeah.
And people get upset with me because they don't like it when they start throwing insults at me over something on Facebook, and then I turn around and tear them down.
I've read your stuff.
I'm mean. I'm real mean. Because if you want to play dirty, I'll play dirty. But that, for me, is not, I'm going to attack you personally because I don't like you. It's an exercise in argument. And I don't use argument as a negative term because I studied all the ancient philosophers, and I took an entire series of classes on how to put together a good argument and the ways that argument is valuable, and that you should understand every side of an argument or you know nothing about the argument.
Right.
And so I have no qualms calling a spade, but if I'm there to engage in some type of learning activity that involves a back and forth, come correct, or I will put you in your place.
Well, right, and that's the beautiful part about, for some folks is that with these little, Twitter, pick your platform, it's really easy to shoot with an opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm amazed at how upset people seem to get. And I'm a spaz over the Cubs, trust me.
Yeah.
Believe me. But even there, it's a 162-game baseball season.
Yeah.
And it's like after the first 2 weeks, people are like, oh my God, we suck. Dude.
Right, this is not the point.
Right, and so and when you kind of point out, there's a long way to go. They play till the end of September.
Right.
They'll come back. Don't tell me how to be a fan.
Yeah.
Okay, well then don't go on social media and post something. And that's the thing. If you're going to put it out there, that's cool. Right. I mean, so not only is it I get to put it out there, but you must all agree with me.
Yeah, no.
Or you'll hurt my feelings.
And then people get their feelings hurt.
If you hurt my feelings, I'm devastated. You ruined it.
I'm cool, and I'm deleting my Facebook account.
So basically, here's what you've done. Because of this, I've never met you. I've never talked to you. I don't even know where you live. But you crushed my week because of this. I will say this much to you. In all seriousness, if that's true, put it down and walk away and go shake somebody's hand or help a homeless person or go see a human being and talk, because that's not what,
You'll feel way better.
That's hitting yourself in the head with the hammer, kids.
Yep.
That's not good.
No,
that gives you a headache.
It does. And there have been some really interesting debates. I tell you, one of the most educational fires I started on Facebook, on my page, was, and we don't have to discuss our perspectives on this, but was the Civil War discussion, and the reasons, all of the topics that surround the Civil War.
Contradiction of terms.
Yeah. So, There were tons of things that got posted in that whole string that I had never read, and so there was a ton of education that came my way that was great to keep up with. Some of my opinions shifted because people presented good arguments and good information that I hadn't been familiar with. However, there were other arguments that were just shady insults and blah, 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 that nobody learned anything from.
Right.
But when I hear from people that don't engage and say, you know, we enjoy reading some of, you know, the information, getting opinions from other people. So there's value to that.
Right.
And it blows me away that all these people that come in there and want to get all angry don't realize that all they're doing is being reactionary and not contributing. It's like, well, you know, come on, like, bring something valuable to the conversation. And don't bring anger, because that doesn't do anybody any good.
And don't you think that's a symptom of a bigger problem within that person?
Yes, it is.
There's
Love
something.
that you brought that up.
There's something in there, and you're picking this avenue, this medium, this form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like driving. I mean, I see so many people taking their personal issues out when they drive.
Road rage.
Well, yeah, and okay, you win. You're better. You can go left here if you want. You can go avoid the flashing yellow arrow up there. And it's a, I don't know, it's just a shame. It's a waste of space and it's a waste of time. And your time here is so precious, and
we should educate each other, but arguing is not.
Well,
there's a right way and a wrong way.
Right, and there's, like you said, I mean, I liken it sort of almost to childbirth. I mean, childbirth is painful and it's difficult, and, you know, well, for the woman, not for me. But, and believe me, women, you're tougher. We get it.
But he's quoting the Grateful Dead. He doesn't really believe that.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I actually do believe it.
Who doesn't? If you don't believe that, you don't know the facts.
Right. So, but again, then you have a baby.
Yeah.
But you have to work to get that, you know, to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time. It takes 8 to 9 months of just, for some women, you know, their pregnancies are terrible. And I find this, that parallels a lot of these things in some ways. You can pick it right here. I'm sorry. This is my dead end. We're crashing to a dead end because Lefty forgets where he is.
That's all right.
Sorry.
It's good to be a grandma driver, man.
And so it comes back down for me to that. We have so many things here, and I don't think people in Africa are really worried about how they're feeling on social media. They're more worried about, am I going to get water today?
Yeah.
Am I going to get food today? I mean, it's one thing to see all these different places in the world where terrible atrocities happen, and they're getting bombed, and those are families, man. Those are just like us. And how would it feel if, you know, bombs keep raining down in your neighborhood? Not good.
People would freak out.
Right. So, you know,
they would be shooting at the hurricane.
Are your problems really that big that we need to fight with people you've never met on a phone?
Right, probably not. And that goes back to, you said something earlier that reminded me, I think social media has become just this mirror, this sounding board for what it is that our schizophrenic, bipolar culture is trying to figure out its own identity. And just yelling at this mirror until we realize that the only thing we can come up with to insult the guy that cut us off in traffic beyond he cut us off is shit that we made up. And most of the stuff that we make up is stuff that we wish people would say to us.
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's for all these wonderful forms of communication. And again, Facebook is a tool. I use it to promote my music and stay in touch with people I can't talk to all the time, my family. And it's great to see what's going on with people, because it really does, at least for me, makes me feel closer to them, makes me feel like I'm in touch with them. If I can't be at an event, and, you know, I think Adam Holt and Albert did a gig at Lulu's last week, and Adam streamed some of it. Cool. I was in a hotel room in Dothan, Alabama, and guess what? I got to watch my friends play. I wish I could have been there, but so there's so many wonderful ways it can be used, and
we're one step away from teleporters, man.
I'm gonna tell you what, Scotty wasn't that far off. He always managed to fix the engine no matter what.
He was good.
You gotta like that.
Good.
I think it's, use it wisely, man. Just be nice. Put some kindness out there, man. It's not that hard. It really isn't, man. I'll practice every day in my own mind too, because we all got it. Y'all got to fight through it. You know, believe me, it's something we all struggle with.
But that comes back around to the vibration and health, in that what we put out has everything to do with us, because the reason that we feel good and come together after crises situations is because the best things we ever do for our health is when we do for other people.
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't matter which book you want to pull that out of.
No argument here.
But that's the standard that we should be pushing towards. That's why I like the phrase of, it's not about whether or not you can make $1 billion, it's whether or not you can touch 1 billion lives.
You can turn left at the stop sign and we're almost home. The softball fields in beautiful Robertsdale.
This is awesome. We're talking about community, and this is what we drive into.
Bristling with activity.
This is exactly what we're talking about, because this is people doing things together.
Out in the real world.
Instead of alone together.
You can make a left, Hoss. This has been fun, man. We finally got to do it. I'm so happy. Compton is a man of amazing patience.
Well, just persistent, I think.
Well, I've
got that alligator blood.
I have a fun life.
Around.
It's a busy life, and it changes on a dime, but I wouldn't have it. We'll do it again sometime if you want.
Yeah, we should.
I mean, we could do this for a month and just have great conversations with you. I'm grateful to be alive, grateful to be here, and put some tunes on. Go out and see somebody, support somebody, do something nice. It ain't that hard, man. It really isn't. When I see news stories of little kids helping homeless people, I start to think to myself, yeah, get over yourself.
Which one are you referring to? There's so many of them.
They're everywhere. You can make a right up here, yeah. They're everywhere. I mean, and it's just, so there's hope. There's always hope. There's always people doing good things, and it's funny, like the whole network news deal. Start off with crisis, tragedy, extreme weather, commercials. Here's a commercial for this drug. Now, it might be able to help your heart, but don't take it because you might get a heart attack. Here's what the drug does. We're going to tell you that in 7 seconds. Now we're going to spend 40 seconds telling you all the things that could hurt you.
Right. Yeah. Don't do it. Just go find a plant that'll cure
right.
that whole thing, and you'll be okay.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. But that's good. I'm just grateful to be on the planet and spinning, brother. That's what it's all about.
Likewise. I just like,
and peace, and thanks for the opportunity, brother.
Dude, thank you so much. This is
love rapping with you.
We'll shut all this down by YouTube. If you missed anything on Facebook Live, you can catch it on YouTube. So